Welcome to the Voices of Otolaryngology podcast series, where we spotlight diverse perspective and insights within the field of otolaryngology. I'm your host, Rahul Shah. In this episode, I talk with Academy President Troy Woodard on a number of topics, ranging from his own personal journey in otolaryngology to his passion for clearing the path for the next generation to his own philosophical approach to life on balance, inclusion, mentorship, and wellness. We discuss why the Academy is an essential role in the success of our specialty and the year ahead, with the review of our strategic plan at the forefront of his priorities. With lots of laughs, good conversation, and camaraderie, let's get started. Well, thank you all for being here again. I'm here with Dr. Woodard, and we are broadcasting from my office, the podcast studio. El Presidente,
Yes,
you're our president, if I can call you that.
Thank you.
We'll be on the 5th floor in our historical archive space, but may I call you Troy?
Troy.
All right, you literally got off the flight.
Yes, I did run in to spend time with the staff and really show my appreciation for all they do for us. Today is our holiday party. So everybody gets to kind of relax a little bit and just enjoy the fruits of like their hard work for the year.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the hard work you do as a president.
Thank you.
You took over when? Do you want to let
Yeah,
know
October
how long the tenure
1st.
was?
So it's only been, a couple of months, and I'm stoked that, that really our members, I guess, place their trust in me to help, along with the rest of the board, guide our academy into the future and do what's right.
Yeah, well, they elected you, so congratulations.
Thank you.
It's got to be a tough year, a transition of executive vice president, CEO. Right. So thank you for handling me on behalf of the academy.
Well, I wouldn't consider it tough. I look at it more as a challenge, but then also it's exciting.
Oh, I'm a challenge to it.
Well, it's the thing is, like, just from knowing you over the past 2 months, it's going to be a good time, a good ride. I think we're going to accomplish a lot. Yeah. I really believe that we value the same things, which is really improving things for our members as well as advocating for our patients. And so, as long as we keep that in the forefront, we'll be good.
Yeah. You got right into it. Chris, I don't think you need me here. He can just do the podcast by himself. This guy's larger than life. Now I know why he won the election. A little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
What's your practice setting and where did you land from this morning? You left your home to join us.
So home is now Cleveland.
Now? What do you mean now? Where was it before?
Well, I'm always a Southern boy at heart, right? You can probably get
Cleveland's in the South?
No, but I'm from Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow.
And so, left there because at that time Nashville was too small, and I wanted to go to a big city.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So I wanted to go to Chicago or DC. Pick Chicago.
So Chicago for what? What did you
college and residency.
May I ask, where did you train?
DePaul University.
Okay.
And then I did my residency at Loyola University.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And so out of fellowship.
Fellowship was?
And fellowship was in sinus and skull-based surgery. And I did it at MCG in Augusta. And so landed a job at the Cleveland Clinic.
Yes.
And I've been there for about 15 and a half years.
Wow, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful. Really exciting. What are some of your favorite cases?
I would say, so my practice is about 40% skull-base and 60% inflammatory disease. Mm-hmm. Honestly, my favorite case is just repair of CSF leaks, cerebral spinal fluid leaks. Mm-hmm. And, it's somewhat, I would guess, beginner range skull-base, not as complex as removing some tumors. But what I really like about that procedure is that we immediately help that person and they go from, some debilitating condition where they're just draining cerebral spinal fluid to it's patched and they can go on with the rest of their life pretty much. And so, yeah, it's just fun.
Do you know how I handle those? Are you ready for this? Are you ready?
I know how you handle.
I call you.
You're right, exactly. Referral.
I don't cause them. No. Out of those, so how many do you do a week or a month?
Oh, wow. So,
and I'm serious because I do want our members to know kind of the prevalence out there.
Yeah, so I don't know the specific numbers of CSF bleeds, but I would say probably on the range of 2 to 4 a month.
You do that. So about one a week.
Yeah, about one a week. And then on top of that, if you add the other sinonasal tumors and pituitary skull-based things, probably totaling up to about 300 plus sinus and skull-based surgery.
Very high volume.
Yes.
Out of those 50, maybe I'm trying to do the math, 40, 50 CSF leaks a year.
Yeah.
How many are iatrogenic? How do you break them down?
Well, thank God most are not iatrogenic. Most are idiopathic or come in from an unknown cause. Usually it's high pressures in the brain. On occasion, probably less than a handful are iatrogenic or caused by previous surgeries. Which that's good. That's good, right? It shows that, our skill set in our field is progressing, and actually the utilization of, technology helps us to stay safe, such as like navigation, etc.
So, man, and by the way, we have no script here. This is blank, other than my notes. Educate me. I'm a pediatric otolaryngologist.
Sure.
What has evolved? So navigation is a technology that helps us during surgery.
Right.
Unintentionally, right? If I don't want to be in the skull base, how do I stay out of it? Navigation.
Right, and just, I think education in general, right? There's all types of equipment out there to help simulate sinus surgery. You can do better preoperative planning. All these things combined, I think, has made sinus surgery safer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you must have a national practice, right? International.
Yes.
I mean, at Cleveland, I don't call it the Cleveland Clinic. It's on your paycheck. I call it Cleveland Clinic. But you see patients from all over.
Right. All over. I would say probably about 50% of the patients are from Ohio. Probably about 30% are from the surrounding regional areas, such as Pennsylvania, Indiana, Michigan, etc. And then the remaining is from international.
So inflammatory diseases.
Yes.
You finished fellowship what year?
2009.
Okay. And I think it's okay to say here, you employ me. I work for the board. You're chair of our board as president, so you could fire me, but you're the second youngest president.
Second youngest.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's exciting.
What year did you finish? You said
2009.
Wow. I was in the middle of my practice going strong then.
Yes.
So have you seen an evolution in the inflammatory diseases, the management of sinonasal inflammatory diseases in your young 15-year career? or tell me about that.
Yes, I have. So, it's interesting because when I reflect, I think I struggled more with controlling chronic sinusitis. And what do I mean by that? Well, really recalcitrant patients would be on numerous steroid tapers. We would put them on medicines that affect their liver, like Zyflo, and then over time we started using steroid impregnated rinses. Then steroid impregnated stents come along.
Well said.
Right? And so now we have to talk about biologics, right? That's a game changer.
When did that start coming out to you? And
I would say probably over the past 5 or 6 years.
Thank you. Sorry, please keep going.
Yeah, so no, over the past 5 or 6 years, and now it's just catching on everywhere. And we're still trying to figure out exactly where in the treatment paradigm fall, but it's promising.
This podcast is publicly available. It's available for everybody. Are you able to tell me where in the treatment paradigm biologics fit, or we don't know yet? It's okay if we don't know. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, well, I think it all depends on who you ask, right? In my particular practice, I see patients who are mostly had multiple surgeries.
Yes.
Most of my patients are revision patients.
Yes.
And so when they come to me, I generally will see what I can do surgically.
Yeah.
But if they soon
Because they've had biologics upstream.
well, some have, some have not. And I oftentimes want to practice my craft and see if I can make them better. And if not, then biologics for many of them would be, I guess, reasonable. Right?
And do you manage those patients as well?
Yeah, actually I do. Initially, I started letting our pulmonologists and allergists do that. But over time, actually, I started managing them. And what I did was I had my nurse and medical assistant actually shadow the allergist for a day to see how they were in their clinic, and then brought those best practices to my practice.
I love that because as the otolaryngologist, you are the expert.
Right.
Sinonasal. Do you agree with that?
Yes,
So,
I agree.
I mean, I appreciate you mentioning that.
Yeah.
And so now you have the whole continuum.
Right, exactly.
You know this because I speak to you several times a week, so you know I'm a bit frenetic and I'm all over the place. Do you want to tell them what happened at the annual meeting when you and I were going to the opening session and we got in the cab and realized we're going the wrong way? Oh, this is how fun. Troy and I can talk for hours. You want to tell them, and then you figured it out, El Presidente.
Well,
we were going the wrong way, sir.
Yeah, what else is it?
It wasn't our fault.
No, we
just said, take it to the meeting.
Yeah, to the meeting, right. And he thought of some other meeting.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is getting further
But
further.
You figured it out.
I figured it out. The numbers were going up or down, whichever. They were going the opposite way of the street numbers.
But you made it to the opening ceremony.
We made it.
Yeah.
Actually, we had a little time to spare.
And we both had to be on the stage.
Yes.
Your contributions this year, your legacy is important. What would you hope, and we've talked about this, and so let's share it with our members.
Yeah.
What do you hope to accomplish this year? Some of your initiatives.
Right. When you said legacy, that just sort of made me shiver.
Yeah.
Like, just being in the predicament of where I can leave a legacy.
Well said.
And
or honor of leaving a legacy.
Yeah,
right?
Yes, you're right, exactly. Honor of leaving a legacy. The thing that I'm amazed mostly by is the Academy's, I guess, the members within the Academy and their willingness to mentor me and sponsor me. And, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for several sponsors.
Could you name a few? Do you mind?
Yes, Stacy Ishman. Let's see, my fellowship director, Steele Kantakas. Really, Steele, when I finished my fellowship, he said, you know what? Always be true to yourself. He said, you're talented. You have, a great future ahead. Just be true to yourself. And that's what I try to do. And part of being true to myself is really being grateful and thankful. And I'm really passionate about mentorship and giving back. And so what I hope to bring is a sense of inclusiveness and belonging to the Academy, if that makes sense. Like, I want younger people and people of my generation to look at me and say, oh, wow, he's only been out for, a decade and a half, and he can be a leader. That means I can be a leader too, right? And so I want people to appreciate the things that I appreciate about the Academy, right? Like, whether you're passionate about education, advocacy, mentorship, professional development, it's here. It's all in the house, and it's available. And I want people to realize that.
Mm-hmm. I'm taking a lot of notes. Chris is here. Chris, we're going to have to get you on camera one day, Chris. Christopher here is from the Academy. Chris and I love doing these, and I'm sure Troy we can just keep on going. So Chris and I think of titles for these podcasts. One could be like Troy. Maybe we could be like Troy. So you said it yourself, decade and a half, 15 years.
Yeah.
That's quite a rise.
Yes.
To be president of a 15,000 member society, presiding over it. Why our Academy? How do you choose our Academy over the competing societies? Yeah. And for full disclosure, we've not prepped these answers.
No, we haven't.
But you're a busy guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a middle school son, if I'm right.
High school now.
High school. And you primary caretaker of your mother.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll talk about her in a bit.
Okay.
But so how do you balance?
It's tough.
Every time you're talking to me, you're somewhere.
Somewhere.
You're operating, you're right. So how do you do it all? And then how do you choose?
I actually had to really think about this about a year and a half ago. If being involved in everything, it can easily lead to burnout. And so I was on the edge of burning out, and I just took a break from everything.
So you, Troy Woodard, said, I'm just going to pause a bit here.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was at the, I guess, recommendation of my physician.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm doing so much. And she said, yeah, that's why you're not going to work tomorrow. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I got patients, I got meetings to run, everything. She's like, nope, take a break.
But now you're the president.
Wow.
I mean, imagine that.
I know.
So a pause.
It didn't stop anything. Actually, I think it accelerated.
Of course.
Right? So when I was on this little break, I evaluated my why.
Yeah.
Right? And then I compared my why to the activities that I was doing.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
And so if it didn't fall in line, I let it go.
Really?
Yeah.
You said no.
Yeah. Yep. So I gave up several positions and posts. And, one thing is it may have fallen in line with what I wanted to do, but I've held that position long enough. Why not pass it down to someone else who could benefit from it?
That's incredibly articulate.
And so I did that. And then even in my personal relationships, things that I may have been, like I took a deep dive, that, holding on to, I tried to deal with that and let that go. And so when I went back to work, I felt free. It is so amazing. It's hard to explain.
But then you moved into you won the election and then you served. Troy, it's fascinating. I appreciate by saying no, you said yes to other things.
Correct.
Can you talk about your academy journey in the last decade and a half? I don't know where it started. I know it was a leader in the Board of Governors.
Correct.
But just back me up.
Yeah. So, I had mentioned earlier that Stacy Ishman was a key mentor in my progression through the academy. So starts off, I'm young, fresh. I go to the Board of Governors, and I was really amazed, right? You had all these people from all over the country advocating for their state, local societies. They talked about everything from business and medicine to grassroots advocacy, all these cool stuff, right? And so at that time, I was a governor for the Harry Barnes Society. And after that meeting, I wanted more. And I remember asking a colleague of mine, Dr. Samantha Ane, and I was like, I want to do more. She says, well, go ask Stacy. Stacy will get you involved. And the next meeting...
These are early teens, 2012.
Yes. And I approached Stacy after a Board of Governors meeting, and she was like, sure, what do you want to do? And then, no idea, right? No idea. And then she says, well, how about we start by putting you on the committee for legislative affairs?
Wow.
And so, I applied, got on the committee, and just learned. And then, what happened is they had different projects. And I remember my first project was developing a legislative affairs toolkit so that people at the local level could learn how to...
So I didn't know you were one of those people that developed that. That's great.
Yep.
And very value add.
Yes. And then from there, I went on to vice chair of leg affairs. Then, if you can't tell by now, I talk a lot. And so one of the roles in the Board of Governors is member at large, whose job really is to go and
talk a lot
and spread the good news, right? And spread the good news about the Board of Governors and the Academy. And when I did that, I developed worked hard on a previously developed program where we sent liaisons to different subspecialties, telling about the Board of Governors, trying to...
You mean our other sisters?
Sister societies, right?
That's terrific.
Yep. And so from there, I was elected chair of Board of Governors, which leads to having a seat on the Board of Directors.
Yes.
And I spent 3 years on the Board of Directors, and I was honored to be nominated for president of the Academy and won the election.
That is phenomenal. So you were on the board maybe 10, 12 years out.
Yeah.
11 years. I can't do the math.
Yeah. Yep.
That's great. That's great. You ever felt intimidated? I mean, you and I have talked about it. We're surrounded by legends in our field.
Correct.
Just you introduced me to one the other day.
Yeah.
We read all their papers and manuscripts. So how'd you hold your own?
Well, so just to keep it real, the imposter syndrome does creep in. And for those of you who don't know what the imposter syndrome is, really, it's when people develop this insecurity or feeling that they're not worthy of their accomplishments. And, the way that I overcome that is by just thinking of all the positive things that I've done, all the accomplishments that I've made, all the lives I've changed. And I tell myself, no, you deserve this. You belong here.
So you would raise your hand and speak up.
Yeah.
Because your voice is equal as anyone.
Exactly. And so that's how I, deal with the imposter syndrome. And now, I don't really worry about that. I just go in and do the best I can, and it usually works out.
I think we had talked about your mother attending the annual meeting in Indianapolis, right? We talked about it?
Yes.
Okay, is your son going to drive her?
Well, no, he's not going to drive. He's 14.
14, yeah, he's definitely not driving.
He's always like, Dad, can I drive your car? No, son.
Well, I can't wait to meet your mother. What did she ask you?
She is very proud, right? And, I I don't want to say I'm embarrassed, but every like other day, she's posting something on Facebook about how great I am. And I'm like, Mom,
I got to get on LinkedIn.
oh my God,
She and I can post together.
But no, I can't wait. It's going to be...
What is a great lesson from your mother that keeps you grounded? You're clearly grounded, self-effacing, fully transparent.
Yeah. Honestly, so we are very spiritual and we're Christian. And I would say the thing that I learned from her is perseverance and always keeping the faith. So no matter what obstacles come your way, keep faith. And, God will help me get through it. And so I've used that throughout my whole life.
It seems to be working very well.
Yes. And I realized too, growing up, my dad died when I was 10. And so it was just me and her. Wow. And she sacrificed a lot, right? And so that's why I take care of her now. It's because it's my time to give back.
Yeah. So Troy and I talk a lot, and I'll check in on his mom, right?
Yes, you do.
And I hope she's doing okay. What industry was she in?
She was in publishing. Wow. Yeah, but she became...
Troy, did she write your manuscript?
Right. That would put her to sleep. She became disabled with rheumatoid arthritis. And so around the age of 40.
So did biologics get into RA before us?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think of all the different injections that she has been on over the years.
Isn't that crazy now? When you talk about him, she's like, what, Troy, you're using that near the brain.
Exactly. What's interesting is, the more we begin to learn about biologics, it seems like they're there to treat a multitude of disorders and diseases. It's very interesting.
You see it expanding. What else is it? And you know better than I do with your work, or
that I don't know. But like if you just think of some of the drugs out there now, not only do they treat nasal polyps, but asthma, atopic dermatitis, all these different things.
So you see your patients get a panoply of benefits.
Yes, that's really great.
I told you I'm all over the place. Yeah. Okay. Strategic plan.
Okay.
All right. So not only do you have to onboard a new CEO,
right?
Okay.
Right.
And you're here for our holiday party. Thank you. Staff is super excited to meet you. But a huge thing is a strategic plan.
Yes.
You want to talk to the members a little bit about that? And I'll guide you in a Q&A a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. So it's time to revise our strategic plan. And we utilize the strategic plan to really navigate the changing landscape that's happening in healthcare right now. And as we all know, it's changing rapidly. Unfortunately, a lot of those changes are a detriment to us physicians. And so we need to be on top of that. And so during this strategic planning process, we're going to really get the feedback and incorporate various stakeholders from the different sections to the different practice models. We want to incorporate everyone so that we can make sure we cover really all the areas when revising the strategic plan. We're in the middle of the process.
A great quote. We're working with Tecker. Greg Fine is helping lead our strategic plan, so he's met with Troy and I a lot.
Yes.
I love the quote. I'll give you the quote. He said something akin to this, and then if you could interpret it for our members. He said, the strategic plan is not a roadmap. It's more like a GPS, guiding us on where we're going, which I think is really novel thinking as to strat plans that you and I have worked at. You worked with it for other societies in the Cleveland Clinic, and I've worked it in my other job. It's not a roadmap. It's where we're going.
Right. And I think if you look at it in terms of a GPS, right, sometimes you may have to change routes and recalculate, and that's okay, right? But I think the part that is most important about the strategic plan is that it not only be forward-thinking, but adaptable, right? And so we want to be able to adjust to whatever comes our way and then keep moving towards our vision.
So I'm a member, and I'm going to be listening to... I am a member, actually.
Yeah.
I'll be listening to this vodcast. What is the timeline? And I'll help you. We can figure it out together.
Okay. So we initially sent out a questionnaire to all our members. We're gathering that feedback.
Yes.
Then,
and staff. I also sent it to staff.
Oh, okay. Staff as well, which is great.
Yes, thank you.
Right, yes. And so at the end of January, we're going to meet in person with a group of stakeholders. And
I think we have about 16.
Yep, 16 people. And really start to put together the pieces of this strategic plan. Our goal is to have it up and ready by the time of our spring board of directors.
I think end of April, right?
Yep.
And then they'll ratify it?
Yes, and then we're all good.
That's great. Well, thank you for presiding over that. What a year as president. I know some years are quiet. Doug Backus last year had a very busy year.
Yeah, he did.
So I know your year is very busy.
Yeah,
already.
yeah. But it's all good stuff, right? And yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, well, just your enthusiasm is contagious. One thing, maybe a couple more things, and we'll wrap up here for our listeners. When I think of how you approach a strategic plan, I wrote the word here, intentionality or intentional diversity.
Mm-hmm.
When you brought together those 16 folks, they're not all friends at Troy. Right. They represent different practice settings, different demographics, different gender, different folks. I represent absolute minorities in medicine. So can you talk a little bit about, I loved your approach, and I think other members might think about intentionality here.
Yeah, well,
You're very thoughtful.
Right. I think people want to feel appreciated and valued and included, right? And so when I think about diversity and inclusion, it's not just limited to sex or race or sexual orientation, right? We all come from different walks of lives and can all contribute something to the ultimate vision. And so when I chose members to participate in a strategic plan, I tried to think sort of outside the box and really include people from all walks of life. That's so valuable, so important. And actually, I think it also strengthens your ultimate outcome.
Absolutely, right? Diverse teams outperform.
Yeah.
You and I firmly believe that, and that's some of your legacy as president. Troy, one thing you have taught me is intentionality, and you have commissioned, you are working on a task force set up by the president about diversity.
Yeah.
I think you want to bring together, the way you described it to me, is what's going on all over otolaryngology. How do we help?
Right. Right. Yes, actually, we're doing some great things, the Academy as well as the sister societies in the area of diversity, right? Some societies are actually going out into the inner city schools and just doing hands-on workshops, with their students. Other societies are doing sinus cadaver labs. These are just some examples. Personally, I would love for each organization to continue their initiative, but I want to see how can we help as an academy strengthen their initiative.
Love it.
And also make sure we kind of amplify the initiative. That's the word.
Troy and I are big sports fans, and we commiserate. It's okay. They had a good game. The Browns. It was no. Come on. It was a good game.
I knew you were going to bring the Browns.
I'm just saying. Don't look at the end result. There was hope. Seriously, there's hope. There's hope.
There's hope. You hear that, guy?
My Commander's mug is put away, but I also love F1 racing. And do you follow that or not?
I don't.
So they have something called electric boost.
Okay.
And so you're moving along, and then you can give a boost.
Okay.
All right. But that's what you're saying. I think what you're saying with the task force is how, as a president, can I give a boost
to the initiatives, right?
It helps if you do this. You just feel the boost.
Okay.
Corporate development is something you and I are passionate about.
Yeah.
You don't have to expound upon it, but we are exploring ways to ensure that we bring our industry partners along with us in this ride.
I agree. Play a valuable piece in,
it's our
who we are
ecosystem.
as an academy, how we treat our patients. I think, it may be interesting to even get their point of view if we're thinking about strategic planning.
Yeah. Well said. Wow, I didn't think about that. So interesting. I think we might have just learned something.
Yeah.
I think, okay, all right, hold on. They're seeing how a president and EVP works. Okay, coach, I got you. All right, I hear you. I won't take that as an action item. See, folks, you get to see how we continue to iterate. Dr. Woodard, just a couple more things.
Yeah, sure.
So I love country music, and I'm not from Nashville.
Okay.
You want to react to that? I think you're sad about. I mean, I love it.
Well,
You're from Nashville. You're so blessed to have everything there.
Yeah, but
what's your musical genre?
I could deal with the new country music.
What do you mean
That's
deal
more
with
like pop?
Okay, fine.
Some little rap in there.
So in Nashville, you didn't get.
No, but you know what? I'm a.
Shaboozie's not country. Okay, I like the bar song, but I mean, it's okay. It's not country. What's your musical genre?
So hip hop, R&B, and gospel.
I know you were an athlete growing up. Did you play any instruments? You're into
I
a lot of
did.
otolaryngology.
Yeah, so
you want me to guess?
You'll never guess.
Oh, I'll guess. All right, you tell me.
The violin.
Okay, I played cello.
Okay, all right. Strings.
Right, all right, strings.
Yeah, so what was
So you understand that the big guy's playing violin, the little guy's playing cello.
So we're in COVID, homeschool. So my son, I never had told him I knew how to play the violin. And he was like, Dad, we have to like record ourselves playing this song and all this stuff, right?
What does he play? What instrument?
The violin. And so I said, get it out. And then I start to tune it. And he was like, what?
And I still have the thing. I'm being serious because you can give me a cello. It's been 30 years.
They're not as fast as they used to be.
But
They need some WD-40. But no, I could play basic. That's supposed to make a little sound, little star and some randoms.
I'm looking at your fingers here. How did you have discrimination out there?
But yeah, no. And so I played it for him. He was shocked. I guess the same way when he found out I knew a little Spanish too.
Yeah.
I think our kids, I don't know. I don't know what they think of us, but evidently not smart enough to play the violin or know Spanish.
Well, I'm shocked that you could pick it up, first of all, tune it, and then have the muscle memory. Right?
Well, now though with computers, you can they have the little digital tuner. You can tune it to it's a lot easier.
Two more things. You're a big Browns fan?
Yeah, I am. Unfortunately.
I mean, sometimes I call you and you're at the game. What do you want to leave members with? These podcasts have really, people listen to them. And I'm very grateful. And my goal today was for people to see what an honor it is for me to work with you. Love it. We have great conversations. We don't always agree, and we don't need to.
Right.
We don't want to have groupthink. We want to push each other.
Yeah.
You want to give a message to the members, and then I'll sign us out.
Well, I'm just going to kind of go back to what I'm passionate about.
Sure.
Making sure that you know that you belong here. We have much value. There is much value in being a member of the Academy. The things that drew me may also drive you to become more active. Mentorship, education, advocacy, and I think, I guess I'll just say this. If you don't advocate for yourself and your patient, who else will, right? And that's why we need you as a member of our academy. That's why we need you to donate to our ENT PAC.
Become an investor.
Yes, an investor, right. And invested in your future and in your patient's care, future of your patient's health care.
We could just do a handshake.
Yeah,
How about we do that?
All right, man.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.